Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on your location. This is Leadership Talk with Adegoke. This is the 56th episode of Leadership Talk with Adegoke. And this session, we're going to be looking at leadership and employee engagement. Leadership and employee engagement. I have with me on the platform Rolly Babalola, and she's going to be adding so much value. How are you today, my friend?
I'm okay. I'm cool.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Now tell us, who is Rolly?
Mm. That's a long one. Okay, so I'll try and make it very brief. Okay, Rolly Babalola is a passionate human resources personnel. I'm
Okay,
foremost an entrepreneur.
okay,
I have been in the business of entrepreneurship in the last 6 years. Prior
okay,
to that, I work in one of the foremost Nigerian banks in the country, where I led team. I was privy to lead teams early on in my career because the bank
awesome.
that I've worked here believe in empowering people earlier on in their career. You don't need to be you don't need to have a title, neither do you need to hold a position before you are
Excellent.
put in leadership capacity. So I
Okay,
think that kind of exposed me to leadership then quite earlier on in my career than any other place really. And then during the course of my banking career, I had been managing branches. I worked in relationship management. Aside working in relationship management, I was also in business development, trying
awesome.
to act as liaison between the bank and new customers. We had to source for customers, cold calling. We were not
Yes,
afraid of, like the security situation in the country was not what it was. I mean, what it is right now. It
yes,
was quite relatively, if you could go out, you're safe to go out. We're always told to work in pairs. So we go out in pairs and we know you're able to know what the bank products and services, what the bank was offering. So we approach new clients, the manage existing one. I was also privy to give out credit facilities. I worked
okay,
in international operations as well in using direct credit lines where we have standby letter of credit users lines to help SMEs. So I think my love for SMEs and entrepreneurs started when I began to manage effectively branches. And then, with banks primarily, you have to have targets, you have to have goals. You need to measure up to some standards. You couldn't come to presentation room without meeting a certain level of your performance metrics. So with the love of that, when I left banking, I had some good customers of mine that they were still calling me even though I had left the banking industry. They still
wow,
believe in my capability. So they will call me and like, do you want to do this for me? I would like you to come over to my office. So one was instrumental really in he had an offer letter from another bank and
okay,
wanted me to peruse the offer letter to explain more to him and give him more insight, which I did.
okay,
So he now told me, Rolly, what are you doing now? I said, oh, I'm working with my husband. We're in oil and gas business and this. And he was like, okay, but you did this so effortlessly. Why don't you have a company and register a company? And okay, he was quite instrumental to me registering my business back on gate. He was like,
wow,
he was going to hold the check for me. He wants me to open an account with the bank, register the business first, and then that's how I got to be in business really. So it was a client of the bank that felt, oh, I believe in your capability, I believe your capacity. Come and add value to my business, which I did. I charged him and he was like, okay, I don't want to pay it into your personal account. I need you to open a corporate account, register a business, and you're good to go. And 6 years down the line, here I am today, impacting lives, impacting organization as well. So that's a little brief about Wally Babalola. Yes.
wow, wow. That's awesome, awesome. If you just joined us, wow, your sound is a bit. I think you might have to come back in again.
Okay.
There's, oh, I think
Is it
there's a
from
bit
your
of
end or mine?
from your end. I think there's some noise.
Okay, let me find out. Okay, let me go out and then come back in and see how it is.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. So, Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, I'm having a chat with my good friend Rolly Babalola, and on this session of Leadership Talk with Adegoke, we're looking at leadership, and employee engagement. And she has done a good job by introducing herself um, on the session. She's giving us, a background on how she um, worked in the banking industry and the skills that she acquired, uh, in that regard. So this is Leadership Talk with Adegoke, the 56th episode of Leadership Talk with Adegoke, and I have with me Rolly Babala. We're looking at leadership and employee engagement. How engaged are our employees? Are they fully engaged while on the job? Because it speaks to so many things. Even with the pandemic, so many things. The challenges of adding value, the challenges of raising the bar, and still remaining ahead of the curve is so instructive. So we're going to be looking at, how to make sure that our employees are really engaged. Um, so my friend Rolly Babala is going to be adding value on leadership talk with Adegoke. She's I'm sure she's going to join us in the studio um, at any moment from now. But it's such a privilege and honor to be sharing the platform on Leadership Talk with Adegoke. Our past episodes, leadership and innovation, leadership and creativity, leadership and resilience, leadership and men, leadership with women, leadership and business recalibration. So many, you know, powerful topics, have been looked at. And so this is not going to be an exception. So I'm just trusting that as you come on onto the platform, you get some value, you get some, something that would speak to your business or even to your environment so that you can add value continuously. So, Leadership Talk with Adegoke
So it's showing
uh,
this one again.
is an amazing, yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay, yes. So, now I want you to speak to employee engagement. What's your understanding of employee engagement?
Okay. So when you're talking about employee engagement, you're talking about the emotional, the psychological attachment of an employee to an organization. You're
Okay.
talking about their heart, their mind, their soul, their head, and their hands.
Hmm.
All these elements are attached to the organization. You see them giving all their best, going after tasks with all they have. They
Hmm.
are not prone to excuses.
Hmm.
Despite the excuses, despite the challenges,
Yeah.
they will look for solutions. They will just want to get results. So that is who they are, and that is what they will do in order to achieve organizational goals. They just want to get results. They are just result driven. They have the soul of the organization in their heart. So even if they are not at work, the work is with them. So that is the bit about employee engagement. In getting them attached, it's about performance and the success of the organization. Performance and attaining organizational goal. So it is all for them is about achievement and results. And once you get your employee to be emotionally engaged to your work, then you know you've done the significant aspect of the job.
Wow. Wow. Awesome. 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 So what's the relationship between wow, your network is a bit funny
I'm
tonight.
just
This
wondering why it's like that. Honestly, I'm
you
just
might have to,
wondering.
yeah, you might have to come back in again because the
Wow.
noise is a
Let
bit
me let me try the other line and see how it is. Just give me
okay.
a second. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So sorry about the network challenges. She's saying that when it comes to employee engagement, we're looking at the employees having the mindset, their hearts, their head, and even their soul is connected to the organization, and that's one of the best ways to make sure that there's an alignment, and the employees are able to you know produce excellent results, because you don't want to have an environment where the employees are not engaged. Uh, it creates a distraction, it creates a disruption even in the business. So for leaders, uh, it's a time for us to make sure that we create the enabling environment for our employees to be fully engaged with the organization, so that there can be excellent results, even in spite of the challenges of the pandemic. For me personally, I mean, I can remember back in the days when I was an employee. Uh, I was really committed because the environment was conducive. I was excited about going to work, and it was a memorable time for me. And when I look back, I'm thankful for the privilege, of having worked uh, in that environment. And so I believe that employee engagement is very, very important, um, more than ever before, you know, in a situation where, the COVID has caused disruptions globally. And we are having a situation where companies are looking inwards and seeing how can we really get the best out of our employees. And so, Rolly Babaola, she'll be joining us any moment from now to speak on employee engagement. Um, how the impact on leadership. And if you're just joining us, this is Leadership Talk with Adegoke, the 56th episode. Yes, the 56th episode of Leadership Talk with Adegoke. And we're looking at leadership and employee engagement. Um, our employees are the backbone, of our business. They're the ones that make sure that we're able to deliver on our goals. They're the ones that make sure there's a remarkable impact on the bottom line. So we're going to be looking at this. I have no doubt that you get some value on this session. Leadership Talk with Adegoke. We've had so many wonderful guests on this podcast, and I'm just so excited with the also the feedback, and there's also an opportunity for you to follow us, even on our social media handles, firstdegreeconsulting.net, 1stdegreeconsulting.net. That's our website. And also we're also on Instagram at first degree consulting, which is 1ST degree consulting. Um, so we just want to add value. We're showing up massively. We're adding value globally, and it's been a delight. It's been a privilege. So leadership and employee engagement, leadership and employee engagement. And for those of you that would like to drop a feedback, even in the chat, you can just drop a feedback, and we can see how we can, if you like us to speak on a topic that you think that would add value to you, feel free to do so. On Leadership Talk with Adegoke, we are just excited. We just want to add value. We just want to show up and add value and
Thanks
add
so
value.
much.
So, yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Goke. I really See, it's even reverberating.
No, it's is it reverberating on your end?
It seems so. Okay, it's better
No,
now.
it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. You're welcome. So, just before the little interruption, we were looking at the relationship between leadership and employee engagement. Can you just speak to that, please?
You said,
The relationship between leadership and employee engagement.
okay, the relationship between leadership and employee engagement. Okay, when you're
Yeah.
talking about leadership and employee engagement, you're simply talking about the leadership style. For
Yes.
any organization, you have like an organizational culture. You have like a value that you have nurtured in an organization. You're talking about the kind of styles that the leader brings to bear in the workplace. So if a leader has an inspirational attitude to work, it will impact on employee engagement. If a leader has a motivating spirit in the organization, it will have an impact in employee engagement. Now you're talking about transactional leadership, you're talking
Mm,
about transformational leadership. When you're talking about transactional leadership, you are simply talking about punishment and reward. You're talking about,
mm,
did you get this task accomplished? Are you going to get rewarded for such tasks? So
mm,
if you fail in achieving the organizational goal, what are the repercussions? So it is simply what it is, transactional. So, and then
mm,
when you have people working in that kind of environment and it is like entrenched where performance is like you've not done something remarkably well, you are not entitled to get some benefits and compensations or perks
mm.
of office.
Okay.
Do
Okay.
you understand? So in such
I do.
organization, you may find it hard for such employees to get connected to the organization. And
Mm,
then when you're talking about transformational, that means you're having a leader that wants to inspire his or her people, wants to
mm,
motivate them to bring in their best. You are
mm,
looking at harnessing the latent potential of the employees. You're bringing it to
mm.
bear. Because of this particular employee, you know them. My daughter is helping me actually to make.
Wow. Wow. Yes. Sorry. The yeah. The the network. I think she's just well. She'll be back in. Yeah. We just want to stay engaged and still continue to add value. This is the leadership talk with Adegoke. I am with. Yes, she's back again.
I'm so sorry
Yes.
for the connection issue. This looks better than what I've been using before. I can actually see
Okay.
myself. I can express myself better here on this phone. Yeah, with the laptop.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Good.
so we were talking about the leadership and the relationship between leadership and employee engagement. So I was
Yes.
saying that you have typically like transactional leadership and transformational leadership. So when you're talking about the transformational leadership, you're talking about inspiring the people. You
Yeah.
know the strengths and weaknesses of each of your employee or your team members. You know
Yeah.
what you need to harness. You know how to harness the potential, bring out the latent potentials that they have, so that you can you're polishing it. You're trying
Hmm.
to refine it. You're trying to remold it to get the desired result that you want.
Hmm.
But in transactional, it is more of a reward, a sanction, a
Okay.
reward. If you've done this, you'll get this one. So
Hmm.
those are things that naturally will affect employees' performance
Hmm.
because once they get intimidated and feel that their decision making is not welcome in the organization, because
Hmm.
now you're talking about title, you're not talking about position. There is a certain hierarchy where I know if I speak to this particular boss,
Hmm.
there's going to be something else that is counted against me. I'll be
Hmm.
worried to talk. So those
Wow.
are things that will also affect employee engagement.
Hmm. 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 Excellent. Now, I just wanted to look at, how can a leader, you've spoken
Okay.
about how a leader can raise the bar and add value. How can a leader overcome the challenges, in terms of employees that are not really consistent, in terms of the bottom line, delivering value? How
Okay.
can a leader, yes, inspire
Oh,
and
for
and
these,
yes.
for this, there's this element of coaching right now. That is the wave. You need to coach your team to performance, high performance. You need to coach them in the way that you get the best out of them. What you apply to A may not work with a B. What you
Okay.
apply to a team A may not work with team B. So
Mm,
sometimes you need to also use moral suasion.
mm.
Sometimes I'm caught in between when I was managing teams in the bank versus when I'm managing teams now in my organization. I've seen that, yeah, the generational difference and the features that you have in each of the generational mode is quite different. So
Mm,
you need someone with that leadership capability to be able to read in between the lines. So you must be able to, you must have insights. You must be able to listen to your
mm,
team. If you don't listen and you feel, oh, I want to slug it out with them, they must do it a certain way. You're micromanaging them to the point where they lose their sense of creativity.
mm.
You can never
Wow.
get them engaged in that organization again.
Wow. Wow.
But when you are able to listen to them, I tell my team members, for each of the tasks that you have, you are the CEO of any task I give you. I am
Mm,
just a board of director. So if you have been given a certain task, I will just tell you what I want. Go and do it the way you want to. If you
mm,
take ownership of the task and
mm.
you do and get results, fantastic. But if you
Ex-
have issues, don't wait till the end, because leadership is also about, like, okay, you've gotten it to this far? Are there obstacles on your way? Are
mm,
there things that you need to work on that we need to look at it together?
mm,
Because sometimes it is also in delegating. People say you delegate authority, but you
mm,
don't delegate responsibility.
mm,
So, in as much as you know the team dynamics of what you have on ground, you'll be able to manage their emotions.
mm,
And for any leader to be effective, I always say three parameters. You need to learn how to manage yourself as a leader. You
mm,
need to learn how to manage the network. You also
mm,
need to learn how to manage your subordinates.
mm, mm.
So you can't be effective if all these three dynamics and paradigms are not there. So you need to
Wow.
learn to balance it.
Wow.
Managing your team, managing yourself, and then managing your environment or your network.
Wow. Wow. Awesome. 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 So a leader has to be fully equipped and engaged as well, because to manage the team, you also need to, understand what it is to lead yourself, because you can't give what you don't have. Um,
Exactly.
it's a major one. So now I want you to speak to this. So what's the consequence of a leader not having the ability to engage the employees, to be fully engaged, employee engagement? Yeah.
Of course, you begin to have issues with performance. And a leader that doesn't have results to show for their output, you can't call such a person a leader, because that
Hmm.
means there will be certain way you have to have setbacks.
Hmm.
And when you can't achieve results and setbacks and challenges becomes the order of the day in the organization, there is no way you call yourself a leader without results. A
Wow.
leader must be able to manage and harness resources,
Hmm.
whether both human or non-human.
Hmm.
So if you're not able to manage and balance one out of the other, then you can't achieve results. So what happens if you're not achieving results?
Hmm. Hmm.
There's probably going to be instability.
Hmm.
If there is no instability, you're going to shake the system. And if you're
Hmm.
shaking the system, there's no way somebody that comes into the organization today will not look at, oh, what's going on in this organization? And then
Hmm.
you begin to have side talks. You begin
Hmm.
to have distrust in the system. And when those things are present in the system, you're already having a shaky or faulty foundation.
Wow.
So no matter how great an organization is, if a leader is not able to read in between the lines, read and be able to have insight about what is going on, ability to change. You're calling it agility, you're calling it about flexibility. And
Hmm.
now we're all working in the vulgar environment.
Hmm.
So those are the things that a leader needs to learn to be able to adapt and be flexible.
Hmm.
So if you can't balance those things, you cannot achieve optimal results. And once the result is not there in terms of leadership, you can't say this person is an effective leader. And
Wow.
leadership is all about effectiveness.
Wow. 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 It's about results. Now,
Yes,
I
it's
just
about results and effectiveness. Yes.
wow, excellent, excellent. Wow. If you're just joining us on Leadership Talk with Adegoke, this is the 56th episode I have with me on the platform, Rolly Babala. We're looking at leadership and employee engagement, and she's been adding so much value, and I'm so excited to be sharing the platform with her. Now, I want you to just look into the camera and just share three things that you think that leaders should do right now.
Okay, for every leader, you need to look and have a personal check on yourself, like an
Okay.
assessment, evaluate yourself.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong in asking people around you to evaluate you, to assess your performance, to assess your personality.
Okay.
As leaders, sometimes we forget ourselves and believe that we're always right.
Hmm.
We always, you believe you're doing certain things in the right way, but the people believe that you could have done it better, but probably because they don't have the courage to approach you. So I'll say
Okay.
number one, you need to do a self assessment of yourself.
Hmm.
And if you do a self assessment, also ask people around you to assess you.
Hmm.
Then number two, you also need to know that you need to set goals.
All
You
right.
need to project. You need to have smart goals. What do you want to achieve in the next 3, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months?
Hmm.
In the next 1 year, in the next 2 years, where do you see yourself as a leader?
Hmm.
And then the third one is continuous improvement. A leader needs to do and read and improve themselves. You need to do self improvement,
Wow.
personal discovery journey, read journals, go for courses, collaborate with people of like minds. So those are things. A leader without reading any, self-development part. I don't want to call that an effective leader. And once you are not an effective leader, there's no way you get to have results to show for your leadership quotient.
Wow. Wow. I just want to say that you're sharing so many nuggets, and this is great. This is great. Now you've spoken to three things that a leader can do. I also want you to now share three things that you think an employee should do right now, even
Okay.
in this time. Yes.
Okay. Like I was sharing with my people, number one, I told someone, and sometimes that's how we lose value of what goes on around us.
Okay.
I was going through something on my email, and then I came across something in 2013 that I
Okay.
sent to a staff. And then I sent it to her. She's now she relocated to Canada, and I shared with her. And then she was like, "Oh, ma'am, some few days ago, I was sharing this insight with another colleague of theirs, and it was like, oh, you've done fantastically well with me." So I now send the email to my one of my employees now, and when I sent it to her, she was like, "Wow!" And I said, "Yes." But what did I share? I told her that this particular employee, every 90 days, she will be on me. She'll tell me, "Ma, I need you to do a review about me. I need you to give me a feedback. Let me know
Okay.
what things I'm doing well. Let me know what things I need to improve." So, as an
Hmm.
employee, too, yes, if you've not done any appraisal of yourself, if you have not even like met with your leader or your boss in the office, I want to implore you on Monday, go to your boss or your leader or your manager and ask them, "Can you just evaluate me, evaluate my performance? Let me even know what I'm doing right." So,
Hmm.
as an employee, you also need that.
Hmm.
Then number two, ownership of tasks.
Awesome.
Sometimes we lose sight that we want to do something and we don't end up doing it.
Hmm.
So I call it having the discipline of execution and timeline. You may have the
Wow.
best of ideas, you may have the best
Awesome.
of tasks and know where you're going, but if there is no execution, how to execute it, and then meeting deadlines, the best of brains will definitely not work well. The ideas that you want to share, if you don't discipline yourself in terms of discipline of execution, you're going to
Hmm.
have a challenge in carrying out the task. So you may
Wow.
end up carrying out the task, but you don't meet the expected result deadline. So
Hmm.
if you get it accomplished when they don't need it anymore, are you saying you've done it, you've accomplished it well? So the third one, that is it. Because
Yeah.
we lose sight of it that you need to set a target for yourself as well. I tell
Wow.
people, yeah, set a goal for yourself, but don't make it too comfortable and don't make it too stretchy that it will discourage you. But
Hmm.
goal setting is one thing that has helped me in my leadership journey.
Wow. So what's the third one?
The third, I've already said it. I said the first one, evaluation, self-assessment. The
Yes.
second
The
one,
second one, ownership.
discipline of execution. Yeah, ownership, taking ownership of your
Yes.
job task. And then the
And so,
third one, I think the third one was I said, okay, you want me to go over it again? I said there were three actually, and I was saying, improve and setting goals.
okay, okay, setting
Yes,
goals. So,
setting goals. You
which
need to
is
set goals.
which is similar to that of a leader. I always
Yes,
tell,
yes, because like I told you, and this
yeah,
is one thing about me. Whether you're an office cleaner, you're an office assistant, you are
mm,
a management trainee,
yeah,
or you are a middle level staff, everybody is a leader. So what
mm,
applies to this lower level cadre of staff is the same thing that will apply to a middle level person. I have
mm,
seen someone that was an office assistant with us, and then I saw the guy was always so interested in graphics, social media, whatever. I had to
mm,
meet the person that was in charge of social. I said, "Oh, put this guy through. He has shown
mm.
interest." Sometimes when I see him on Facebook now, I hardly believe what he does.
Wow,
So
wow,
sometimes we just lose sight of opportunities around us. So
mm,
I had to sit him down. You can do this, you can do this, and then he started pushing himself. This is somebody
oh,
that he hasn't gone for higher education.
okay,
So, but when he writes on his Facebook, when he does banners posting, you'll be surprised and amazed at what
wow,
he can do. But that has to start with him first. The setting
wow,
of goals I want to achieve, I want to I want to do something, determination. So we all need
wow,
to be on a self-discovery journey. Know who
wow,
we are, know our strengths, know our limitations, and then in your limitations that okay, if these are my limitations, how do I work
yeah,
around it? How can I
mm,
work around them to
wow,
maximize them into something positive, into a
wow,
strength? Yeah.
wow. Excellent. Can you just give us, maybe I know you're an avid reader, and which shows even from your delivery tonight. We just want to celebrate you. I just want you to just give us maybe two examples or three examples of companies globally or maybe locally that you feel that they've been able to use that tool of employee engagement to their best advantage.
Okay. If you remember when I said Jack Cranfield about
Yes.
GE, yeah, when he came
Okay.
on board, he
Okay.
did something amazing. Then
Hmm.
he brought a lot of changes. He was
Okay.
always engaging them. Prior to that, they were not having like employee decision making. He
Okay.
started this town hall meeting. He started engaging everybody. There's
Mm,
nothing as much important as having asking me about how I feel about certain tasks, about certain things.
mm,
So I'll get involved. And sometimes I use that in the field of HR. When
mm,
we go into an organization, you want to introduce changes. You just do it and feel, oh, you're a consultant, you're coming into the place. You must get the buy-in. So sometimes you know where you're going, but you don't in discussing with them, they see that,
mm,
oh, they are coming up with ideas themselves, they're coming up with suggestions. So when you
mm,
want to implement it, they see it as it is a collective decision making, so they get totally involved in it rather than,
mm,
oh, if consultant has brought it in. So Jack was able to do that for
mm.
GE. So
Okay.
I also look at one of the foremost bank, that's one of my bank, Guarantee Trust Bank. I used to work
Okay.
there. And I remember when the late Sayo Adenirokun, the former MD, brought he wanted to introduce changes in terms of the reading culture in the organization. Do you know he got about 1,000 copies of, I think, Fables of Africa or something? And then he
Okay.
introduced it to most of the staff just to change the reading culture. And that's
Mm,
one of the reasons why, even to date, with my team in my office, we always have the knowledge sharing session. We read a book. We share,
mm,
okay, this is the book we're reading today. You go through chapter 1 and 2, come and present it in the in the conference room. So that reading culture thing was also part of GTB.
mm,
You know you're going to present, you're going to talk about something, you read more about it. So
mm.
GTB, GE, I think those are
Okay.
two. Then I also remember, I can't remember, is it Phil now? I can't remember when she took over Rank Zeros then too.
Okay.
There were lots
Okay.
of changes. Yes. When leadership brings to bear that I walk the talk, she was able
Mm.
to do that and brought it on board.
Wow.
If I'm giving you certain tasks, it's not because I can't do it. I just want you to explore your leadership skill. I want you
mm,
to see what you can do and how you can explore this particular task. So she
mm,
brought that one on too.
mm, mm. Excellent. So you're only as strong as your team, your followers.
Yes, you're
Uh,
only as strong as your team and also your leadership quotient. It's like the
okay.
law of the lead. What you don't have, you cannot give. If the
Wow.
lead is as like you have capacitated yourself, there's no way you've capped your growth, you've
Yeah.
capped your development, you've capped it to a certain extent. Yeah.
Wow. 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 This is awesome. This is awesome. We've been looking at leadership and employee engagement, and I have with me on this session leadership talk with Adegoke. I have Rolly Babaola, and she's shared so many massive value, in terms of content tonight. And I want you just to, if you're listening, to the replay, just make sure you watch or you listen as much as you can and make notes. Now, I want to just ask two more questions as we
Okay.
come to a close. Now, what would you say has been your experience in terms of, you know, being an employee and also being an employer of labor in terms of employee engagement? I know you shared in passing. What are the two things? What are the two things that you want to share with us?
Okay.
I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years now. I used to work in the banking industry, and my perspective is totally different from being an employee to being an employer. But I just want to learn from you. Yes.
Okay. Let me get the question again. You're asking me that
In terms of
what
employee engagement, what are the two
engagement?
things that, yeah, being an
Okay.
employee and being an employer of labor? Yes.
Okay. So, sometimes as an employee, we get to the we get ourselves into things that we don't even know the story. I always
Okay.
tell people we judge ourselves by our intentions, and people judge us by the impact of our action. You
Okay.
judge yourself by your intention. People don't know it. And then we believe, okay, because this person is a leader, he's not doing it well. Believe you me, when you get into that particular position yourself, you're going to do worse. You're going to understand that there's something called empathy. So you may not have
Yes.
the whole story. So we just
Mm,
judge people, we prejudge. We have this
mm,
presumptuousness around us about leaders,
mm,
and we just feel, oh, they are not human, they are doing this at certain way, manner. I could do it
mm,
better. But we are
mm,
not in the picture of the whole perspective of what is going on. So
mm,
we take side, so many side talks. They should have done it this way, they should have. But believe you me, when the tide turns and you turn to be the person in that same position, you're gonna do worse. That is when you understand that,
So you're
oh,
saying that being an employee can be very emotional.
yes, we take it to bear into her heart that, oh, this person is quite unfeeling, this kind of person is
Mm,
harsh. But
mm,
sometimes, leadership is about taking decisions. Sometimes you need to
mm,
be prompt on your decision making. You
mm,
need to know that you need to just arrive based on what you have on ground. But as
mm.
an employee, we just take it, no, it doesn't know how to do it. She doesn't know how to do it. Especially if you're a female boss, then is another thing entirely. Then another there's this thing about female bosses. And then
Yeah.
number two,
What is it about female bosses before you move to number two?
though as female bosses, sometimes, women with hormones, we have that, but
Okay.
people don't want to
Yeah.
recognize that. Yeah. So I've
Yeah.
seen a lot where, with different circles in terms of the metamorphosis of a female, you go
Yeah.
through this, you go through that. And sometimes there's no way, sometimes it affects work
Yeah.
output, it
Mm,
affects relationships sometimes
mm,
too. And it's
mm.
also go for the male folks. So
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
understand? But it's just that there's this general stereotype for
Mm,
female bosses.
mm.
And then number two,
Yeah.
we have it on that there's nothing when we want to take decision, we believe, oh, they did it because this person is this one, this person is that one. And I
Mm,
always tell people sometimes it depends on the mood of the moment. It depends
mm,
on the momentum of the moment. While you may look at this particular scenario in this way, when you have all the indices on ground, the indices may still be there, but it was at that moment you decided, no, this must stop. And then when it is taken against somebody else, we believe, oh, it's partial. No, 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 no.
mm,
It's because this person is this person. That's why this
mm,
decision is happening now. What
mm,
if this person had done it 2 years ago, a year ago? But maybe it's
mm,
becoming a reality and it's becoming more of a culture thing that needs to be stopped.
mm.
So a harsh decision must be taken. And then, of
Wow.
course, it is maybe somebody that has been innocent all along,
Mm.
and then the house is falling on that person and they believe, oh no, you shouldn't have done that. So those are
Wow.
things inside that we don't have, but we believe we should take decisions on.
Thank you so much. That's a great answer, to a good question, because yes. Now, I said two more questions.
Okay.
Now, my apologies. Now, two more questions. The the second to the last question is, you speak, with a lot of depth and energy and clarity. Who are you? Do you have mentors? Who are your mentors, if any?
Okay, I would say my mentors are quite many. I've not met some of them really because I read a lot. I
I
read
know.
a lot. I read a
Wow.
lot. I
Wow.
read a lot. It's been a personal journey that I've had since maybe probably 2004, 2005. I buy
Wow.
books, I read. So I follow great leaders. I follow TD Jakes. I
Wow.
follow Joel Austin. I
Wow.
follow, yeah, John Maxwell. I
Wow.
follow Jack Cranfield. So
Okay.
those are books, yeah. So people, I follow, I read a lot. So my mentorship may not be so as in physical, but it
Okay.
is relieved in their books,
All
in the
right.
insights I garner from their books, and so that is how I pick things up. And I just like, okay, if this person has been able to do it this way, I could do it this way, I could have this and this together. But having physically, but I have networks of people that I rub shoulders with, my colleagues, my senior colleagues. I've always had, like I said, my former bank exposed me to leadership at an early stage. So of course I had like senior folks that we rub minds together. And I tell people it's not only about you gaining insight from them. Sometimes they gain insight from me.
Yeah.
I've used scenarios where I have bosses that were my senior bosses then, but right now sometimes they call me now to gain insight from me, and I'm like,
Excellent.
wow, the dice is turned. Yeah, but because they've been able to, like, we say I think iron sharpened iron.
Yes.
So they've imparted on me, and of
Mm.
course, I've also imparted on them. So for my mentorship, I would like, okay, I have a great network of people that are like-minded people that we share ideas, knowledge, and sometimes, I mean, we say, okay, let's go, let's talk, and that's how it is. So sometimes when I
Excellent.
get like this, I look at, okay, this particular leader is good with this kind of skill. I need to go and like explain some things that I have. I want to rub minds with her, and then we go out together. And sometimes they come to me too, and that's how we learn from each other.
Excellent. Excellent. If you just join us in having a chat, this podcast, Leadership Talk with Adegoke, and we've been looking at leadership and employee engagement. And I have with me Rolly Babalola. Now, I just wanted to share in 30 seconds, just speak to the camera what you like to just, I've not asked you, but something you feel inspired about right now that, you feel that people need to hear in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, what I feel inspired about or what people need to hear,
Yes.
which is something
To
I'm
add
inspired
value.
about to add
Yes.
value. Okay, for
Yes.
me, it is about impacting people. I
Hmm.
get into any surrounding, I need to make impact in people's life. In trying
Wow.
as much as, yeah, it's all about impact, impacting people. I see the best in people, I see the leadership skill in people, and I try to talk to them. You can do it, you can do it, you can inspire people. So even people that have like, oh, this boss is hard, harsh on me. 5 years
Hmm.
from now, 6 years, 7 years, they are reaching out to me. Thank you, a great boss. Thank you for what you did back then. I never believed I could do it. So I like
Wow.
pushing people beyond where they see themselves. So it's all about impact for me. That is it. Impact and
Wow.
insights. Yeah.
Wow. Finally, finally. How can they reach you? Our listeners, how can they reach you?
Okay, I have my Facebook page, Rolly Babalola. I have my Instagram, Rita_Babalola. I used in between. My name is Rolly Rita Babalola. So sometimes I have this, my certificate, my name is reading Rita Babalola. I'm also reading Rolly Babalola. So really, it has been a
Wow.
pleasure of the two working together. Yes. So
Wow.
they can reach me on my Instagram page, Rita_Babalola, and then my Facebook is Rita Babalola. So you can reach me there too. Rolly Babalola on my Facebook, Rita_Babalola on my Instagram. And of course, they can always reach me through you, Adegoke.
Yes. So thank you so much.
They can reach
Wow,
me through you on
it's
both posts,
it's
yeah.
been it's been a power packed session with my sister, my friend Rita Babala, Rolly Babala on Leadership Talk with Adegoke, the 56th edition. So till same time, stay blessed. Have a wonderful time. Thank you. Wow.
Cheers. Thank you so much for having me on board today. I really